Hello everyone and welcome to my kitchen at home, and today I'm going to show you a really simple cupcake, perfect for the summer. We've still got a little bit of it left, and even if you don't want to use this in summer, you can use all kinds of other fruits to make it, and it is my strawberry cheesecake cupcake. Now we do a blueberry cheesecake cupcake in the shop, and that recipe is actually in my book, the cake book, which you can buy from my website, cupcakejemma.com, along with a load of other really cool merch like my oven gloves and my lovely apron, etc. But I've switched this up just because I love strawberries in the summertime to make a strawberry cheesecake cupcake. So it's really simple, and I'm going to start by making my buttery biscuit base, and this base I'm going to make with hobnobs. Now these are a very, very British biscuit. Normally I would make my buttery biscuit base with digestives. If you were in America you could use graham crackers. These are a kind of oaty sweet biscuit, and I'm going to be using half a packet of these. These packets are generally about 300 grams, so around 150 grams is what I'm putting into my food processor. If you don't have a food processor, you can do this simply by putting them into a Ziploc bag and just bashing the hell out of them with a rolling pin until they're completely smushed to smithereens. That should do it. So I'm going to cheat by using a machine. Alright, that's perfect. So it's really fine. It's kind of like sand. So I'm going to dump that. I'm going to dump that into my bowl here, and then I'm going to add 45 grams of already melted butter, which I just melted just over the hob. You can do that in a microwave, obvs. And I also have 1.5 tablespoons of golden syrup, and that is the stuff I use quite a bit in baking. It's a very British thing. It is an invert sugar. It's a kind of byproduct of the sugar making process, and it is really, really yummy. It's got a really unique flavour and smell, and it's very syrupy. Corn syrup, if you're in the States or somewhere else, is an alternative which you could use. Maple syrup and honey are a little bit not only too strong in flavour, but also a little bit runny for this. So do try and get your hands on golden syrup if you can. It comes in tins. If you're overseas, you might find some kind of British website which will ship it to you. It's really good stuff. I used to have it on my porridge when I was a kid, and it is yummy. Anyway, so pop that in. And then you want to mix that really, really thoroughly until it's a kind of wet sand consistency, and if you were to take a handful out and squeeze it, it would kind of hold its shape. So now that is all mixed up really well, I'm now going to put it into my cupcake cases. So I've got my 12-hole tin already lined with paper cases, as usual. And before I start making my batter, I want to put this buttery biscuit base into my cases. So I'm going to put a tablespoon, I'm using my tablespoon measure, I'm going to put a tablespoon into each hole, and then I'll be packing it down super, super firmly. You could use the end of a rolling pin or something similar, just something nice and firm and flat that you can really press down with. And now I'm going to put that to one side and get on with making my cupcake batter. Now this is going to be a simple lemon cupcake. But I'm going to be using a little bit of cream cheese instead of the liquid that I would normally use. Normally when I would make a lemon cake, I would use a mixture of lemon juice and milk. But today I'm going to just use a little bit of cream cheese. So I'm going to start with my butter, and I've got 125 grams of that. It's nice and soft. I also have 125 grams of caster sugar and 125 grams of self-raising flour. I've already sifted that. And then I have 1/4 teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda. And also, I'm just going to go straight in. Let's move you out of the way. I'm going to go straight in with my lemon zest. I'm using the zest of 1 lemon and finely grating it. You want to do this over the bowl because you don't want to lose any of those lovely essential oils. If you do it into a bowl first and then put it into your mixing bowl, you can lose so much of the flavour. So I always do it directly over the batter. And then I've got 2 large free-range eggs as well. Oh, that's not an egg, that's a lemon. And then just get that beating on a medium speed for about a minute. And that's looking really good. So now I'm going to put my liquid in. Obviously it's not liquid because it's cream cheese. If you didn't want to use cream cheese, you could just use milk or lemon juice or a combination of both, which is what I like to do. So this is actually 2 tablespoons of cream cheese. So I'm going to whack that in and just mix it again for another 30 seconds until it's really well combined. That's looking really good. So now I'm going to put it into my cupcake cases. Now, normally you would put in, let's say 3/4 full of batter, but because we've got a little bit of that space already taken up with the buttery biscuit base, you want to be quite careful about how much you put in because you don't want it to overflow. So, and that might mean you have a tiny bit of batter left over, which is all right. And if you want to go ahead and make more cupcakes, then please do. So I am going to just, I'm still going to be filling it 3/4 full, but remembering that it's a bit less batter because of that small amount of BBB at the bottom. And now these just need to be baked at 170 degrees C for 20 to 22 minutes. Now that my cakes are out of the oven and cooling down, I'm going to make the topping, which is of course going to be cream cheese buttercream. Cream cheese icing. I've done this a few times. I've even done a cream cheese icing masterclass that you can check out. It answers some of your questions about how to get it right. It also shows you a really good recipe for chocolate cream cheese icing if you want to mix things up again. Actually, that's really, really nice. I'm going to start by beating my butter and my cream cheese together. So it's nice and soft, my butter, and I've got 100 grams of that. I've also got my cream cheese. Now I've got 160 grams, and the last time I used cream cheese in something, I got a surprising number of people writing in the comments box, what is cream cheese, or what do I need to look out for in the supermarket? And I suppose I just take it for granted that everyone knows what cream cheese is. But if you don't, it is basically, in the supermarket, it might be called a full fat soft cheese. Philadelphia is probably the biggest brand that you will find available in the supermarket, and this works really, really well. If you're going to a supermarket, they might have their own brand and it would be called full fat soft cheese. Always use the full fat one. You could even use mascarpone, and you can even use things like ricotta if you really want to bump up the creamy cheesiness of it all. With cream cheeses like that, or soft cheeses like those, the beginning part might look a little bit strange. So for example, the mascarpone one, it breaks down a little bit when you're whipping the butter and the cream cheese together, and it kind of splits liquid out from the solids, and it's very strange, and you might think, oh no, I'm ruining it, but it's fine. You just keep on going, and when you add the sugar, it's absolutely fine. But Philadelphia is a really good old solid, you know, reliable cream cheese, so you don't have to worry about any of that. But I've got 160 grams of that here, and I'll beat those together for a couple of minutes just to make sure it's really, really well combined and smooth. Alright, that's looking pretty good. It's looking nice and white and fluffy. So now I'm going to put my icing sugar in, and this is 560 grams, which I've sifted already. I'm going to put it in 2 stages, beating very well after each stage. Oh, that looks so yummy. So this is ready. So now I'm gonna just clear the decks a little bit, put this into a airtight container until I'm ready to use it. Otherwise it'll start getting crispy and dry and horrible. And then get on with decorating. So I'm back, and I've just taken out the middle of my cupcakes using an apple corer as usual, which is great because it means I get to nibble on the inside of the cupcake. And the cream cheese has made these sponges really fluffy and light. I don't know how it works, it just does. I bet you're wondering, where in this strawberry cheesecake does the strawberry happen? And it's gonna happen now. So I have made some strawberry goo. As you know, I love strawberry goo, or any kind of goo really. It's basically a quick jam. I make it by using either fresh or frozen fruits like raspberries or strawberries or blueberries, etc. And obviously in this case, strawberries. And I tip them into a saucepan. Normally there's about 300 or 400 grams per bag, and I use anywhere between 80 and 100 grams of caster sugar, depending on the sweetness of the fruit. And I let it simmer, I bring it to the boil and I let it simmer for about 20 minutes. And with the strawberries, I actually use the potato masher just to give them a squish to really get those juices released. And I let it sit there simmering for about 20 minutes to really reduce and thicken up. And it is this lovely thick consistency, and I just love it. So I'm going to put that into a piping bag so that I can fill my cupcakes. I'm just using a little piping bag here. A lot of you ask me where I get my piping bags from, and I just can't really believe that you haven't found them, because there are so many cake decorating websites online. And shops, but online you can get pretty much everything. So I would just do a search for clear piping bags or non-slip piping bags. A lot of you like my non-slip ones, which are the pink ones. Just, you know, shop around, Google it, guys. We use big suppliers in Crumbs and Doilies, so and I'm not going to tell you where because they only sell really humongous quantities. So the best thing for you to do is just to Google it. There you go. So now I've got it in my piping bag, and snip off the end and get filling. And now I'm going to top them with my cream cheese icing, which I've already put into a big old piping bag, and this has just a big round nozzle on top to give a nice round blob. And it's not finished there, because I'm now going to decorate them in the same style that we do our blueberry cheesecake cupcakes in the shop by putting a little blob on top of each cupcake and wiggling it about with a cocktail stick. And here it is, the finished strawberry cheesecake cupcake, and it is looking pretty good. And of course, like I said, we do these as blueberry cheesecake cupcakes in the shop. We use mascarpone cream instead of cream cheese, and they are really delicious and they are big hits. So you could do that as well. You could do it with raspberries if you wanted. You could do it with any kind of soft fruit. It's up to you. So please give these a go. I will be back next week with another recipe. In the meantime, if you haven't checked out my merch, then please go and check that out at www.crumbsanddoilies.com. There's loads of cool stuff on there, and you can also get my book, which has the recipe for the blueberry cheesecake cupcakes and 49 other recipes, so it's pretty good. You can also buy signed copies. So I'm going to cut into this and have a little bite, so I will see you next week. Until then, happy baking.